Saving money can be a difficult task. However, I believe with the right knowledge and a good amount of discipline, anybody can make changes to their financial habits to save more money. That's why in this video, I'm going to break down 5 ways you can put yourself in a better position to save money. Number 1 is to switch to a high-yield savings account. This is one of the easiest places to start because it requires very little time and effort to do, and it will immediately start boosting your savings. Now, you might be asking, what is a high-yield savings account? Put simply, it's a bank account that pays you higher interest on your savings than a standard savings account. The average savings account at the time of this video pays out at a rate of 0.47%. With a high-yield savings account, you can earn north of 4% back on your money. The types of banks that typically offer high-yield savings accounts are what are known as online banks. Traditional banks, like Chase or Wells Fargo, don't usually offer them for a few reasons. For one, they don't really need to in order to attract new customers. See, they have enough brand recognition that people will open up savings accounts with them regardless of how low the rate they offer. Another reason is that they have thousands of brick and mortar branches, unlike SoFi or Ally Bank, which are all online. This means that traditional banks have costs that come with operating brick and mortar branches that online banks are able to avoid. In turn, these online banks can afford to pay out higher interest to their members. To demonstrate the power of this, I will compare the average savings rate of 0.47% to the current APY on a high-yield savings account. Side note, I'm choosing SoFi for this example because I personally use them, but any high-yield savings account would have the same impact. That being said, imagine you had $10,000 in savings. With the average savings rate of 0.47%, you would earn just $47 in interest over the course of the year. On the other hand, if you had a SoFi high-yield savings account, you would earn $460 in the same time frame. This is a very significant boost considering how easy it is to sign up for an account like this. The second tip I have is to pay off your high interest debt. Now you may be thinking, Mitchell, this obviously isn't a saving technique, you're spending money. However, in a sense it is. When you put money in a savings account, you are lending your cash to the bank, which it will then lend out to other people. The bank makes a profit by charging the borrower a higher interest rate than the rate they pay you on your savings. So, working with this knowledge, it will almost always cost more to borrow money than to earn through saving. That is why you should focus on paying off high interest debt, such as credit card debt, personal loans, or private student loans, before focusing on saving. To illustrate this, let's say you have $5,000 in credit card debt, where you pay the average credit card interest rate of 22%. This means you will pay $1,100 in interest alone over the course of the year. On the flip side, if you save this amount in a high-yield savings account with 4.6% interest, you would earn $230. This means that you're costing yourself $870 by keeping the $5,000 in a savings account rather than using it to pay off the credit card debt. The next thing to do is to create a budget. I personally believe this is the tip that will have the biggest impact on your savings. To state the obvious, to save more of your money, you need to find areas to cut back in. However, you can only begin to do this if you know where your money is currently going. Some people hear the word budgeting and immediately assume it's a super tedious task. If this is you, I would recommend downloading a free budgeting app such as Rocket Money that will automatically aggregate your financial data once you link all your relevant accounts. If you're looking for a more thorough approach, which I do, it's to make a simple spreadsheet that tracks all your income and expenses, and in essence, you're creating your own profit and loss statement each month, much like a business. The goal every month is to be staying in the green and making a profit. This is also known as living below your means. If you're new to tracking your finances, I would recommend budgeting for at least 3 months. This will give you enough time to learn your spending habits, see where you can cut back, and help to inform your decision-making going forward. Crucially, pushing through with this allows enough time for budgeting to become automatic. You'll begin to notice that you already know which decisions to make. And once you have the skill in your back pocket, saving becomes an easy byproduct. The fourth tip is to avoid lazy spending. One of the easiest mistakes to make is assuming that since something is a small purchase, that it's inconsequential to your savings goal. The thing that happens is you inevitably begin to make the same decision over and over and over again, and soon enough, your $5 coffee every day is costing you $150 a month. I'm not saying that you have to cut out coffee completely, but the point I'm making is that you have to be intentional about the small purchases you make. If you're fine with spending $150 a month on coffee, Just know that the opportunity cost of this transaction is passing up on saving $1,800 a year. Up next, we have the 72-hour rule. The premise of this rule is that anytime you're shopping online and want to buy something, place the item in your cart and wait for 72 hours. 90% of the time, you'll come back and realize that you don't need the item. On top of that, most of the time you get the dopamine hit right before buying the new product. The dopamine comes as a side effect of the anticipation of the reward. So, if most of the fun of the purchase happens right before hitting the button, you actually get most of the happiness from the shopping experience, and you don't have that random thing you don't really want or need. Now, the last tip I have is more of a bonus tip because it's more of a call to action than a tip itself, and that's to start saving right now. There's no better time to start making progress towards your savings goal than the present. You don't even have to implement these things all at once. Just begin to make steps in the right direction. This maybe means just starting by opening up a high-yield savings account and beginning to let your money work for you. Easing into it is good because the goal with the act of saving is to turn it into an infinite game. Now, this is an idea that comes across from author James Cars, which theorizes that there's two types of games. The first, finite games, are played with the intention of winning. The second type, infinite games, are played with the goal of keeping the game alive. When it comes to your finances, you have to view everything as the latter because you're trying to maintain them throughout your lifetime. These are all skills I'm still working on, and as I learn, I want to share them with you. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for more content like this.